Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, we talk about the ever-evolving consumer trends focused on the beef industry with Dr. Mandy Carr Johnson. We'll also have features from Kansas Corn, Kansas Wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, plus the weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association and market information from Pinion.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
In agricultural news, 2 new wheat varieties have been released from the Kansas State University Wheat Breeding Program, being licensed by the Kansas Wheat Alliance Seed Associates, and for farmers that will be able to plant this fall. The hard red winter wheat KS Bill Snyder, named after the legendary football coach, will be available in a limited supply this fall. The variety was developed with funding from Kansas wheat farmers and donors to the Kansas Wheat Commission Research Foundation. KS Mako, also a hard red winter wheat variety, has excellent yield record and will make a splash in seed fields this summer, then available to farmers this fall. At a luncheon in his honor to announce the release of KS Bill Snyder, Coach said, "The people here are very special, and what you do is meaningful." He said, "When I came here in 1989, I learned that K-State people are truly special. They ask, what can we do for you? That's the Kansas State farmer way." Coach Snyder went on to say how humble he is and honored with the naming of the wheat variety KS Bill Snyder. That wheat variety, a result of the long-running breeding program at K-State Agricultural Research Center in Hayes, led by Dr. Gunrong Zhang, K-State University wheat breeder, and his team. The program focused on the development of new and improved varieties of both hard red and hard white winter wheat for western Kansas. Over 30 agriculture groups released the annual Feeding the Economy report. That study helps estimate the direction and indirect economic contributions of food and agriculture industry on jobs, wages, economic output, and business taxes. The 24 report finds show that total economic impact of the food and agriculture-related industries grew about 12% over the last year, reaching $9.63 trillion. That's 20% of the total U.S. output. Total jobs in the industry reached more than 48 million. Total wages up $2.7 trillion. That's up 34% since the 2020 report. Total taxes $1.25 trillion, up 37% also from the last report. From the 20 report till now, food and ag manufacturing jobs grew at a faster rate than any other job category in America. Agriculture production now accounts for 20% of all U.S. manufacturing jobs. And the 2024 growing season is expected to bring a unique combination of El Nino this spring through early summer before switching to La Nina late this summer through early fall. Farmers Business Network says the opposing climate patterns have the potential to trigger significant weather events that could be problematic on impacts on crop production. 2023 ended with strong El Nino, which is weakening now and will end around April. But the long-term impacts will be felt throughout the growing season. The U.S. weather patterns will likely move back to normal between April and July, followed by a probable La Nina through September. The report also says the 2024 planting dates will likely be slightly earlier for wheat, while remaining typical for corn and soybeans. And corn, wheat, and soybean yields are expected to increase this year because of the El Nino. We'll be back with more on this Kansas Ag Report in a moment.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com.
We're joined now by Mandy Carr Johnson, who's with National Cattlemen's Beef Association. She's Executive Director of Scientific Affairs. She talked at the KLA meeting about kind of trends with consumers. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us, what do we first need to know of where consumers are when it comes to beef consumption and kind of what you shared?
Yes, well, the good news is beef demand is high and consumers love beef. They like it as a steak, they like it as a burger, as ground beef and an ingredient, and everything in between. So we're at a good time that consumers love the product.
Okay, so there's been a lot of folks almost trying to take aim at it to try to get into this market because we've had pretty good times. More folks are getting that taste of beef, and once they have it, they stay with it. But we do have these, for lack of a better term, fake meat alternatives, different derivatives. Has that made an impact at all? We were concerned maybe 2 or 3 years ago, but it's just kind of waned, it seems like. Is that what your research shows?
Yes, so what we see from consumers is the majority of consumers like variety. So they like chicken, they like beef, they like pork, and some consumers, about 26%, like a meat alternative, like a plant-based product. But what we're seeing is they like that variety versus substituting it out for one of the animal proteins. So consumers still very much like beef as an eating experience, an option, and we want to make sure that we continue to have a high quality eating experience that is consistent for them to have.
Have you looked at where we are kind of post-COVID now? Because, there for a while, people were not going out, restaurants weren't open other than takeout, and that's a different experience. So is that still one of the top things, is folks wanting to have a true food experience?
Yes, and what we see is about a little over 70% of consumers say that they're going to prepare more meals at home, and they enjoy having a restaurant eating experience at home, along with maybe some of their traditional options that they're accustomed to on a beef perspective. So what we see is that opportunity to inspire consumers with a chef who's showing how they prepare a beef option from their restaurant, and then giving that to consumers to prepare at home. Also, that opportunity to get order online and pick up from a restaurant a beef item, and then take it home and have it with your family that might fit into your schedule a little bit better. So consumers want both. They want to have a great eating experience at home. They also like that great restaurant experience, and sometimes they might want to take that restaurant experience home.
And is it working? Is it working the way most people want, to make sure that they keep that up, or maybe return to that restaurant either in or pick it up?
Yes, and so what we're seeing is, over time, everyone has gotten better at that opportunity of how do you have a restaurant meal that you can transport and it still have a great eating experience. A lot of technologies, different packaging, containers, as well as some of the preparation methods have advanced, and that has provided a great experience. So we want to have both, and as consumers, we like lots of options, and we enjoy a good experience, whether we made it or someone else did.
Mandy Carr Johnson, National Cattlemen's Beef Association. She is Executive Director of Scientific Affairs for them. And so we're going to take a quick break, come back, and maybe explore that a little bit more. We'll do that in just a moment.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
Our guest is Mandy Carr Johnson, who is with National Cattlemen's Beef Association. She heads up the Executive Director of Scientific Affairs, and so we'll kind of talk a little bit about what that means. But first, we're talking about consumer trends, and so we probably can't go too far without talking about the digital world with these things and how important it is. It's more than just word of mouth now. These phones and devices really are that bridge between the producer to consumer.
They are, and what we're seeing is, the consumers of today, the millennial generation and the generation a little bit older and a little bit younger, are streaming and digital consumers. So they're not watching broadcast TV. They're not necessarily listening to radio. they're listening to a streaming service. So to reach them, we want to make sure that we are providing that information that is about beef, whether it's about preparation or its nutritional value or how it's raised. We want to make sure that we have that opportunity to reach them on a device. So streaming TV, streaming radio, or these handy dandy things that give us everything we need to know.
Absolutely, it is very fascinating. So, okay, Executive Director of Scientific Affairs, we kind of want to know what does that mean, but I guess it really means you are the one that helps crunch all this data that makes all the sense of backing up with science everything that we know, but to get it out in an understandable manner for all of us, correct?
It is, and so the team at NCBA that I have the privilege of working with is one of technical research scientists, so PhDs in human nutrition or meat quality, sustainability, and food safety, but also registered dietitians that engage with health professionals and help them understand how cattle are raised for food and provide a very nutritious product, but doing that keeping in mind the consumer trends and what a consumer is looking for today. So balancing all those pieces so that, to your point, we have that sound science. So then if a marketing campaign is developed, it's one that we can back up by science.
As we let you go, though, I do want to talk about, finding consumer trends, finding all this science. Are they still meshing, or do trends change quick enough? And how can you and others stay so we know in the industry that we're doing what we can to reach the most, whether by selling beef or giving them a positive experience, and talking, all that together, it seems like it's almost too much data, isn't it? I don't know.
It can be an opportunity to look at the holistic thing. What we know is we survey consumers every day. So 1,500 consumers a month, and we're looking at these trends, like what are their perceptions? What would cause them to eat more beef? What might be limiting them? So we can really understand that. If they have questions, then how do we get that information to them? So watching those trends also in flavors and food trends, and then how does that apply to beef so that we're putting forward recipes or inspirations with chefs that meet those needs of the consumer.
Very good. Mandy, interesting stuff. Now, folks can go probably online and find some of these things as well. Is that correct?
They can. So consumer information, you can see like recipes and cuts and how to prepare beef on beefit'swhatsfordinner.com or on Beef It's What's for Dinner if you follow it on social media. You also can go to beefresearch.org, and that's where all of our technical information as well as what's about the consumer is housed.
Good. All right. Good to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.
Mandy Carr Johnson, who is the Executive Director of Scientific Affairs, National Cattlemen's Beef Association, talking consumer trends and more. So stay with us. We'll have more coming up in just a moment.
Anything I can help you locate today?
Yeah, I'm looking for some grass seed, but I can never figure out which type to buy.
At Premier Farm at Home, you can pick your grass seed out of a field instead of off a shelf.
Really? You can do that?
At Premier you can.
That'd be great.
Let me take you to our plots.
Everyone has lawn problems. At Premier Farm and Home, we see it as an opportunity to earn your trust.
This is so helpful.
Only place in the Midwest.
With each problem we help you solve, you'll gain confidence and find that no one can take care of your lawn like you can.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Good afternoon. This is Bill Johnston with Kansas Corn, and I'm about to have my afternoon snack. One of my favorite afternoon snacks is popcorn, but I don't have any popcorn. I do have some field corn though, and all corn's the same, right? Actually, listen. It is popping. This might work. Let's see. Well, kind of popped. Not like popcorn, but hey, all All corn's the same, right? Let me try a little bit of it. That's terrible. This was a bad idea. All corn is not the same. We commonly recognize 4 types of corn. One is flint corn that is commonly used for decorating. Lots of times it's called Indian corn. It has a hard shell, and it can come in many different colors. Then there's popcorn. Popcorn's a popular snack food that pops when we heat it. It's actually a type of flint corn, but it's become so popular that now we consider it a separate type. Then there's the kind that we eat, which is sweet corn. We only use sweet corn for food because it obviously tastes good. It's tender and juicy, and we harvest it right on the cob. Lots of times that sweet corn plant has more than one ear, and it's one of the shorter kinds of corn. And then finally, there's dent corn, the most common kind of corn that we raise in Kansas by far. We use it for feed and lots of other things. To us, this stuff tastes bad. It's hard, it's dry. We harvest it off the cob. Usually each plant only has one ear. We use it for lots of non-food products too, like ethanol and shampoo and actually thousands of other things. But we use it in food sometimes too. Cornbread, corn oil, and cornstarch.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Bake and Take Month, celebrated each March, is a great chance for families and service groups to get together in the kitchen. Prepare gifts of fresh baked wheat foods for relatives, friends, coworkers, neighbors, and just about anyone who likes to eat. The visit when you deliver the baked goods is one of the most enjoyable aspects of the tradition, which started in 1970 as a community service project for the Kansas Wheat Hearts, an auxiliary organization of the Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. But before you celebrate, enjoy this updated parody of If You Give a Mouse a Cookie to commemorate all of the different parts of the wheat industry that come together to make those shared treats possible. Before you give a friend a loaf of bread for Bake and Take Month, you'll have to bake it first. So you will need a recipe like the winning entries from the 2023 National Festivals of Breads. But to make that recipe, you'll need ingredients like flour. To listen to the full If You Give a Friend a Loaf of Bread, check out kswheat.com/news. Looking for a specific date to share what you've learned along with a tasty treat? Mark your calendar for March 23rd, 2024 as National Bake and Take Day. Need more inspiration? Check out the recipes at eatwheat.org.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Brett and Brittany Niebling manage their family operation in Donovan County. Brett grew up on the farm, but after college, he worked in education and sales in Kansas City. Over time, he missed the farm, and with a newfound appreciation of farming and ranching, he moved back home. Now the Nieblings operate a no-till rotational farm and run a cow-calf herd and feeder calves. They continue their family tradition with their 4 children, Brenna, Bristol, Bryce, and Brinkley. The Nieblings are active in Donovan County Farm Bureau. Brett serves on the county board as president and helped create the Highland Community College Farm Bureau chapter. Brittany has helped host legislators on the farm. Brett is the first vice president of the Kansas Soybean Association and has served as the agriculture advisor for 2 Congress campaigns. Brittany is a first-grade teacher and president of the Teachers Association. With deep traditions in agriculture, the Nieblings are proud of their family's history and aim to honor those traditions. As Farm Bureau members, they want to continue to connect with consumers, to share their positive stories of innovation and sustainability.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Students from across the country with an interest in the livestock industry and related careers now can apply for the Kansas State University Animal Sciences Leadership Academy, which will be held June 5th through the 8th in Manhattan. The academy is designed to enhance the leadership skills and animal science knowledge of students in 9th through 12th grades. It is hosted by the K-State Department of Animal Sciences and Industry and sponsored by the Livestock and Meat Industry Council. The program's itinerary will feature interactive workshops, tours, and faculty mentor time with ASI professors. Additionally, industry leaders will join participants to share their knowledge and expertise. Throughout the week, attendees also will work in teams to evaluate current events within the animal science industry and educate others. This experience will culminate with team presentations and a closing reception. This is the 15th year of the program. Only 20 students will be accepted for the 2024 session. Participants will stay on campus in university housing with program staff for the duration of the event. A fee of $50 will be due upon acceptance into the program. To apply, go to asi.ksu.edu. Applications are due April 15th.
More farmers and ranchers than ever have chosen to be BQA certified.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Hello, this is Jake McCall with Pinion Ag. The market has been quite active in all areas this week with no shortage of data to discuss. In a time with little focus on U.S. production news, the trade is carefully examining export data, ethanol production, South American harvest, and political machinations around the world. That being said, as we start with the grain markets, it is likely that most of our action this week has had little to do with fundamentals. It has long been known that the managed money funds are heavily short in the grain markets, and they remain so, but in the past 2 weeks we have seen some lifting of those positions ahead of the March WASDE report. That came out this week. The WASDE report, though, pales in terms of importance when compared to the end-of-the-month planning intentions release, which will be accompanied by the quarterly stocks report. In terms of fundamental information, we did have a pretty quiet ethanol report where we averaged 1.057 million barrels for daily production, which was down 1.9% from last week and up 4.7% from last year. This did set a record for ethanol stocks for this week in the year, breaking last year's record by 0.73 million barrels. On the export side, things were strong but not blown out of the water, with corn, wheat, and soy meal all within expectations, while soybeans actually surprised to the upside at 613,500 tons for the week ending February 29. On the cattle side, the cutout continues to work higher above the $300 level, strongly supported by lean trim markets. Fat cattle trade over the past week has largely been in the range of 182 to 185, with a little bit of 186 sprinkled in here at the end of the week. Depending on the location, as packers have been slowing chain speed and cutting slaughter numbers in an effort to keep a lid on prices for the moment. Cattle have traded largely sideways over the past 30 days, especially in the deferred contracts, and it may be time that we'll need to see some development in prices as the April board remains premium to cash by a few dollars. In outside markets, crude oil remains in a solid upward channel as it meets resistance around the $80 mark. Equity futures stare down new highs, and the dollar has taken a beating over the last couple days. If you would like to work on your marketing plan or have any questions about the markets, we'd love to talk to you about it. You can call us anytime at 888-452-8751. My name is Jake McCall with Pinion Ag, and I hope you have a great day.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Well, that'll do it for our program. Be social with us online, kansasagreport.net, or our social media channels. I'm Ken Rogers. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope you had a great agriculture week throughout the country. We'll be back with you next week on the new Kansas Ag Report.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.